We gather this afternoon in memory of Roberta Speigler, more often and lovingly known as Bobby. As we gather here in person and via live stream, we tie together our hearts and memories and offer comfort to those who knew and loved Bobby. We remember her and join our hearts together to offer comfort and strength to her family. Mourning is a time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. We begin our service with a recitation of poetry, psalms, and prayers, thus linking Bobby's life with the millennia-old tradition of the people of Israel and the eternity of God. A teaching. A child asked, "Tell me of life." And the sage answered, "Life, my child, is a mystery. We do not ask to be born, nor do we even understand the meaning of birth, of creation. We grow and we experience life's pleasures and pains. We love and slowly, oh so slowly, we come to realize that we have become, that we are. At that moment, we humble ourselves before the mystery of life and quietly say, though I knew not, I have been granted the most precious gift of all, the gift of life." And the child asked, "Tell me of death." So the sage answered, "Death, my child, is a mystery. It is the inevitable return of the gift of life, the gift which came free to us. We live as the trustee of that mysterious being, of that unexplainable becoming. Yes, you and I are but trustees of life. We nurture it, we delight of it, we give of it to others. And at the appointed time, we sadly, yet with pride, return it from whence it came. The beauty, my child, is that what we are, what we have become, remains long after the gift has been returned. It remains as a precious keepsake with our loved ones who live on. Death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest is better than constant sickness. Let us not seek to understand what is too difficult for us, nor search for what is hidden, nor be preoccupied with what is beyond, for we have been shown more than we can comprehend. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are our few days in eternity. The good things in life last for a short time, but a good reputation endures forever. I'll share now a poem that was shared with Cindy this week, an adaptation from Victorian poet Christina Rossetti called Let Me Go. When I come to the end of the road, and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not for long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that once we shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all part of the master plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we know. Laugh at all the things we used to do. Miss me, but let me go. We know that mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit our loved ones gave us cannot be measured or weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. A poem. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until, looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not on some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and our life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. and for these words of Hungarian poet Hanna Senes. If you know the song, please feel free to join with me. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, achol ve'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat adam, achol ve'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How they yearned for yet another respite from the final summons, and how we yearn to have them close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, yet another precious moment together. God, be now with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this moment, be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, until the time of healing." Psalm 23. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Psalm 121. Esa einai el heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, osei shamayim va'aretz. Al yitin lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha, al yad yeminecha, al yad yeminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, ve'yareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzeitcha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. A song of ascents. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming, now and forever. I had the privilege of hearing about Bobby's life from her siblings. And in hearing stories about the way she lived her life, I found myself quite moved. Jeffrey and Cindy, it was clear to me in our time together, sharing memories and stories about Bobby, that she was an exceptional person. Her gregariousness and outgoing nature led her to make quick and meaningful, lasting connections with people everywhere she went. Whether it was on a picket line advocating for an important cause, or on one of her many adventures to places like China, Cuba, Australia, or even a safari in South Africa. Bobby was born in 1950 to parents Betty and Sigmund, and throughout her life she lived in many different places: Cleveland, Massachusetts, Baltimore, and most recently Detroit. She grew up as an athletic, well-liked, and popular friend in school, and after high school she worked hard to earn an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and eventually a master's degree, all in the field of social work. Even with all that extensive training, her career life included time working in the steel industry, and she also had a lucrative position at Chrysler. She was pragmatic and planful, and Jeffrey, as you put it, she worked out of her field enough to raise up a nest egg. She knew what she wanted to do. Her work experiences out of the field of social work helped inform her ability to connect with her clients. And as she engaged fully in social work, she made an enormous impact. She worked for the state of Michigan's Department of Welfare for many years and was an advocate for her clients, helping connect them with health care and other life-saving resources. Bobby's career spanned some 30 plus years, always active in her union, and she retired at 62. Jeffrey and Cindy, you described your sister as a crusader for justice. You mentioned how her clients would often stop her at festivals and other community gatherings, shouting out their warm greetings to Miss Bobby. Her iconic look, especially her blue hair in recent years, made her easy to recognize, and the way she cared for her clients made her easy to remember. Cindy, you remember Bobby as highly social, and it sounds like your home was a hub of a lot of social activity, including an after-prom party in 1968 hosted at your house. Was anyone here at that after-prom party?
Yes.
Yes.
Come on.
How was it? Fun. You doubled. I love that. I love that. You mentioned that she stayed in touch with the folks she'd meet on her travels, and that she even made friends volunteering after natural disasters, like when she worked with the Red Cross in the Florida Keys after Hurricane Katrina. While Bobby's identity as a lesbian didn't define her, she did build connections with other folks in the LGBTQ+ community, serving to some as a mentor and to many as a friend and chosen family. Cindy, you and Jeffrey also shared with me that there was a powerful booklet of appreciation and gratitude that Solomon made for Bobby on behalf of her friends at Cosecha, the immigrant-led organization that she worked with to advocate for driver's licenses for immigrants living in Detroit. As you put it, she helped with struggles for a better world, showing up at marches, pickets, and protests with her clever signs and loyal support. It sounds to me like along the way, she poured her heart into each cause she worked for and built meaningful and lasting relationships at each step. Bobby found great meaning in her participation with Detroit Jews for Justice, working to right racial and economic injustice in the Detroit area. Bobby found much meaning in her time with the Jewish community in Detroit, as there she got to blend her Jewish identity, her love of Yiddishkeit, and her drive towards social justice together. Bobby had big plans ahead. She had planned to go to Israel for the first time this June with her beloved friend and Rabbi Alana Alpert from Congregation Tehillah. Rabbi Alpert's presence in Bobby's life and at her side in these recent weeks was appreciated by Bobby and her siblings. In talking with Cindy and Jeffrey, it became clear to me that there have been so many of you who have cared for and loved Bobby throughout her life, who sought to bring her comfort in her final days. Like Sandy, who tried to bring extra layers of healing to Bobby in these final weeks of her life. And Susanna, who came and surrounded Bobby with song and compassion. And Maureen, whose presence brought comfort to Bobby and her family. And others who have written or called or visited or provided abundant meals and care and love to Bobby and her family during this difficult time. I know that Cindy and Jeffrey and Mary are grateful for the outreach and the outpouring of love, and that they've been quite moved by people, even those from many seasons of life past, who have come forward to share their memories and condolences. And Cindy, I can only imagine how much it meant to Bobby to have your devoted care by her side. Two of you shared outreach with me from dear cousin Douglas, who reflected on Bobby's early toddlerhood, suffering through the treatment she received at Rainbow Babies to correct a congenital hip dislocation. Douglas drew a connection between Bobby's early difficulties with her perseverance, and he said, what she lacked in size, she more than compensated for with will, determination, and an abiding sense of justice. Bobby was also a beloved godmother to Amanda, whose remembrance Cindy shared with me as well. And there she wrote in a tribute to Bobby, you were there for me through my awkward phase to my graduation to turning into a mother. My heart weighs heavy. You have been my biggest fan and supporter. The love, happiness, joy, and compassion you have spread to any person you have encountered is something no one would ever forget. This tribute from Amanda probably resonates with many of you who were also impacted by Bobby's presence in your life. It sounds like those who surrounded Bobby in her final days represented a small cross-section of the eclectic, multi-generational, diverse network that Bobby enjoyed throughout her life. Our rabbis teach us that there are three crowns: the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But they emphasize that the crown of a good name excels them all. The book of Ecclesiastes said, Tov Shem Me Shemen Tov, a good name is to be treasured above precious oil. Wealth, health, and even life pass away, but a good name lives forever. It is in this view that the Talmud teaches monuments need not be erected for the righteous. Their deeds are their memorials. They will be remembered and revered for the kindness they have shown and for the love they have given. They are shining examples of what it means to be a mensch, a good person. So as we come together in memory of Bobby, we know the truth of this teaching. Bobby's good name is her legacy. The way she stood up for the disenfranchised, the way she advocated for her clients, the way she built powerful and lasting connections with family, friends, and everyone else around her show us all we need to know. Her deeds are her memorials. Bobby will be remembered as a deeply good person who worked hard to repair the wrongs of this world and lived a life in accordance with her values. Her willingness to dig in and do the work of social justice, her kindness and compassion that informed her social work and provide dignified care to her clients, and her persistence in rooting for the underdog. These are the symbols of her good name. She is our shining example of what it means to live life as a mensch, a good person. We do her memory justice when we allow our actions to be inspired by her own. May our own acts be inspired by hers, and then may we work to ensure her memory will always be for an enduring blessing. Zichrona livracha. At this moment of our service, we prepare to recite the words of El Maleh Rachamim, or God full of mercy. In this memorial prayer, we ask that the soul of our loved one, Bobby, enter into eternity and find peaceful rest. This prayer invokes the image of our loved ones being carried under the wings of God's presence, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina. That loving, protective presence will, God willing, accompany Bobby's soul to a state of perfect peace. Following El Maleh Rachamim, we will accompany Bobby as she is laid to rest at Mount Olive Cemetery. Following the interment, her family will receive friends at the Aloft Beechwood, which is on Eaton Boulevard in Beechwood, from 3 to 6 this afternoon. Contributions or tzedakah in memory of Roberta, of Bobby, I'm reading my notes, but we all know she was Bobby, are suggested to Temple Tehillah in Detroit, Detroit Jews for Justice, or Koseja, Detroit. I'll invite you to please rise if you are able. Hail Malei Rahamim, Shochein Mamromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Gedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Rachel Hana Bat Beletzora V'Sigmund Shehalcha Le'olama, Ba'al Harachamim Yastiraha, B'Seter Knafav Le'olamim, B'Yitzror B'Yitzror HaChaim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, V'tanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkava, V'lomar Amen. God of abundant mercy, God most high, may the soul of our loved one who has gone into eternity find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold her close to you forever, so that her soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May she find a home with you, and may she rest in peace. Together we say, Amen.
Go ahead over to the mic.
Yes, if I may, I'd like just a minute. Thank you, Rabbi Malban, for your beautiful eulogy, and I'm not here to give a eulogy. I just wanted to take a minute to invite you all to join Cynthia and my wife Mary and myself after the internment for a catered meal. It'll be meat tray from a local deli where there'll be meat trays and fish and dairy trays, dessert tray, and fresh fruits. And this will be at the Aloft Cleveland Beechwood Hotel. The address is 1010 Eaton Boulevard, Beechwood, Ohio. And give me 30 seconds or so, I'm going to go outside and get together sheets to hand to each of you with directions on how to get there from the cemetery. And we just hope to see you all there to celebrate Bobby's life with us. Thank you.
If anyone here is going to be acting as a pallbearer, if you would kindly step forward at this time.